Hello everyone, this is Jotto, and welcome to my Masters overview, and also the reason why we should be changing the format. But anyway, we will start with the actual tournament itself. So, how did the tournament go? Well, for me, I ended up being pretty average. I went 2 and 2. But I'll talk about my games after the opening sort of overview. So we got roughly 300 viewers on the main like English streams, and then apparently, and I checked this, we got 3,000 viewers on the Chinese one. I had no idea Spellweaver was that big in China. Ivco dropped by and was just like, "Well, we got 3K viewers." Okay. Yeah, I had no idea the game was that large in China. So yeah, we got 3,500 people total watching Spellweaver. That's just nuts. I think in Pioneers with Noxious we hit about 3K as well. So yeah, that's a pretty good benchmark to hit. Now the winner of the tournament was Peacekeeper, so congrats to him. I ended up going 2-2, and of my 4 series, the first two were incredibly close. I barely scraped through those two. I ended up going 2-1 in both of them. I actually said in the middle of the first series, I think, that I wasn't expecting to beat people because everyone in the tournament was either on par or better than me. And I still stand by that, by the way. Everyone there, apart from the people that were invited, the wildcards, got through the same methods with probably less effort than I had to put in, because I had to, like, it was actually my limit to get into to top 10 this time. So everyone else was probably in a better position than I was, which I wouldn't be shocked by. But anyway, so first 2 series, I was playing Advanced Neva, Hate Bears, Advanced Zash, Rage, not the Dragon version, but I think the Dragon version's better, having seen it, at least in tournaments, having seen it, but the difference is not massive. And then I was playing One Turn Heal as my third deck. So, first 2 series, One Turn Heal gets banned, and I basically just scrape through a win with both of my other decks, because that's what happens. Rage and Hate Bears both have a tendency to win at least one game. So, ended up scraping through on that. Then, in the third series, I was playing against Peacekeeper. And basically, the way the counters line up, he was playing a Wisdom Dominion list that was designed to counter One Turn Heal and other Wisdom decks, which was cool, by the way. But yeah, the way the counters lined up was that it was going to be a Rage Mirror in the third game. And then I crashed in game 2 and skipped a turn and lost. Now, I don't know whether I would have won that game. It was One Turn Heal against Rage, but what I do know is that I would have been a turn ahead, and I would have had hero power instead of having to use other resources, and I wouldn't have died to a dragon when I did. I don't know whether I would have won the game after that, but it definitely would not have been as one-sided, and I would have preferred to actually play a best of 3. I was very, very angry on stream after that. Yeah, for pretty obvious reasons. I was incredibly annoyed. My luck in tournaments is practically legendary at this point about how bad it is, and that was just the icing on the cake there in Masters, having the game crash on me. It wasn't even my internet, it was just the game. Just Spellweaver crashed on me randomly. I don't even know what caused it. It just crashed on me randomly, restarted the game, and it skipped a turn. So, I don't know. Maybe in tournaments, the grace period for disconnect should be larger. Maybe it should be like 2.5 minutes or something. I don't know. But anyway. So, lost the series. Then, on to my final series, where the same lineups happened. Like, yeah, it's Peacekeeper. And this time, lost to Wisdom Dominion. Because, again, teched against the Wisdom decks. With One Turn Heal. Won against Rage, which was expected, although it was a really random way of winning. It ended up actually winning through damage, guards with hero power to kill him, because he took so much damage from Burning Rage. He took something insane, like 19 damage from Burning Rage. And then last game was a Hate Bears versus Rage matchup, which I was not confident in, but I felt, well, it's about 60-40. And I had a Zero Shrine hand, mulled into a Zero Shrine hand, and missed a land drop on turn 2 and lost. Yeah, I was very angry by the end of the stream. I was incredibly annoyed. Because the chances of that happening are like a 1%, if that. And I also missed a land drop in a series earlier and barely won that game. So yeah, I was incredibly angry with how variants went in that tournament. Not just in game, but also out of it. But I mean, in the end, it was 2-2, and I still got in prizes, so I'm okay with that. I would have preferred to do better, but like, I don't know whether I would have won these games, is the thing. Like, I'm not annoyed that I lost. I'm annoyed that I was not given the ability to play the games properly. Because I don't mind losing if I have control over the outcome. Yeah, that's what I'll say on that. I don't mind losing if I have control over the outcome. The field of players was incredibly stacked, and I think it's really, really impressive that Peacekeeper managed to go 4-0, and that like, all the people that got 3 points also did very, very well. But it would have been nice to actually play the games. So that's all I have to say on the tournament in terms of how my experience was. Now, on to the meat of the video here. What the hell is wrong with this format, and why we need to stop playing Conquest immediately? It's awful. Alright, let's look at some deck diversity first off. So, if we look at the top 5, you'll notice a shocking trend. They're all playing the same decks. Exactly the same decks. I think, yeah, Cruel Tiger is playing Burke instead of Zash, but the list itself is very, very, very similar. So they're all playing Rage, and Basic Despina, Wisdom, Dominion, Control, and then Hate Bears. All of them. So, top 5, people with the most prizes, all playing the exact same lists. Then you go down to the 2 points, and you have, I was playing one turn heal, but for actual like purposes of like how the lineups work, which, yeah, so I had the 2 same decks and then one turn heal instead of Wisdom Dominion, but very, very similar. Wisp, same lineup. SS Lock and KK, they had different ones, but still they had the SS Locks. I think he had his Rainbow Control list, which is basically a Wisdom Dominion deck with a bunch of one-offs. And I think he's playing Dragon Control as well with like combo. It's a very, very weird deck list. And then again, Advanced Never. KK had a bit more of a unique lineup. Outside of that, the entire metagame, from what I could tell, the whole metagame was basically Rage deck plus a Wisdom deck plus Hate Bears. That was the whole metagame. And it really does show just how ridiculously rigid it was. Now, why is this the case? The reason this is the case is twofold. It's not just because of the card restriction. The card restriction basically states that you can't play more 4 of between your lineups. So it's encouraged to play different colors in each deck. However, the problem is Conquest itself, because Conquest, first of all, I've been on record saying Conquest is not a good competitive format. Back in Hearthstone, when they introduced it here, it's not good. Even Blizzard didn't intend it to be good. Because remember, Conquest's history, it was designed by Blizzard so that in BlizzCon, people could see more decks played per series, because deck elimination has a habit of sometimes being sweeps. And if you get swept, you only see one deck on one side, meaning that it's less fun to watch. So they scrapped it, and then they came up with Conquest, which a bunch of people did not like, because it has very, very little competitive merit to it, and results in some very, very awkward preparation, and depending on the metagame, it can actually just break down completely, which is what happened here. So why the hell did this happen in this situation? Well, the problem with Conquest right now is that we had 3 Conquest tournaments before Masters, which meant that everyone knew the best decks. And it's not a case of you just counter one, because think about it this way. I was actually, when I played against Peacekeeper, I was playing one turn heal, which at least my version is favored against Rage, although there's some sample size stuff there. But anyway, at least my version was favored against Rage, and then his Wisdom Dominion deck beat one turn heal. So the idea is that he tricked me into banning something else, and then he beat one turn heal, and then yeah, he outdid me, right? Well, yes, but because Rage and Hate Bears always win a game, then his Conquest lineup should beat mine, but it didn't. Like, if I had beaten the Rage deck, which, keep in mind, I had the favorable matchup in, it would have been a Rage Mirror. So even though he out-metagamed me, the lineups were equal. And this happened a lot, because Rage and Hate Bears are both decks that have either 50-50s or above 50-50s against pretty much everything. Meaning that if you play both of them, because you only have one ban, every single lineup on both sides will have these two decks. And as a result, even with a ban, every single best of three will come down to a very, very luck-based matchup. That is what happens when you have this kind of metagame with Conquest. And it results in every series playing the same. I think, the first two series played exactly the same way, and the second two series played exactly the same way, and those are the only two ways the series can play out, which was if one turn heal got banned, and if it didn't. So, yeah. It's just terrible right now. It really is bad, and it's probably not a unique situation, because every month we're going to have 3 tournaments to solve the metagame. So, it's going to be like this, because of the card restriction. And the idea with Conquest is you ban a deck, and then you counter one of his other decks massively, which first of all is a stupid system anyway, because it means that it's incredibly luck-based, because there'll be that one guy that isn't following the meta, and you lose to him, even though he probably, like, you could have a wild card just randomly beat the best player in the game, because he's not playing the good decks, and he just randomly counters your Conquest lineup. It's really bad. Yeah, it was never designed to be competitive in the first place, and its few merits, which is giving a wide diversity of decks to watch, was completely destroyed by the fact that the entire metagame was solved. So instead of having a diversity, the entire top 5 was playing the same decks, and about 3/4 of the field all had Rage and Neva and Wisdom Dominion pretty much. So that's your metagame. And that's going to happen a lot, because we actually have pretty much the ability to solve what the 3 best decks that fit together are every single month. So this is going to keep happening. So yeah, that's what I've said on Conquest. Now what would I suggest? Well, besides anything else, quite frankly, because this is really annoying to play as well, probably deck elimination. If you want to use a multi-deck format, I'd probably use deck elimination. The reason I use deck elimination over Conquest is it allows you to play decks that are outside of the meta as counters. And that is a lot more interesting. It allows you to play counter decks, which means that we could see, like, silver bullet decks that are designed just to beat 1 or 2 common ones. And that's what we saw in Hearthstone, actually, with deck elimination. We saw silver bullet decks that were just designed to counter one deck. And the idea is you ban the strongest deck, which means that you don't have situations like in the background where every single person is playing Rage. They still would, but the point is you wouldn't have to see it in the tournament, which, quite frankly, I'm very, very happy about. Because my experience with Rage, I had to play Rage a lot this week, especially, since it's what I got into top 5 with. The Rage Mirror, oh my god, it is the worst thing in the world to play, because it is entirely decided by who goes first. I have not seen anything to disagree with that. It is entirely decided by who goes first. It's ridiculous. Like, I mentioned it in my first series, and I'm like, oh, I'm going first, I win. And I did, and it wasn't close. And then in my second series, I'm like, oh, I'm going second, I lose. And I did, and it wasn't close. And every single other Rage Mirror I saw in the entire tournament was massively lopsided to who went first. I think one was close, and he still lost. It's something insane. It's like, on my ladder experience, it's like an 80% lopsided to going first. So you got that matchup, that mirror match that happens in almost every series, is decided entirely by a coin flip. So you avoid stuff like that if you have a ban with deck elimination. Because with deck elimination, the idea is to sweep with something. Whereas in Conquest, you don't ban decks that usually just win. You'll ban one of them, or you'll just ban a deck that will lock you into a place where you can't win with one of yours. Because if a deck wins one, that's fine. You just beat the other one twice, right? That's why people didn't ban Rage. But unfortunately, it results in some very, very uncomfortable best of threes to play for the people actually playing. Like, I mentioned it in chat that I was going to make a video about this, and one of the other players, Icepunk, just responded saying anything else would be nice. Because, yeah, this format is awful to play. I've hated Conquest, especially this month. This month's Conquest format is one of the worst I've ever seen. And I don't really see any way it could be better, to be honest. Because there's always going to be a best three set of decks. There just will. And because there's going to be 4 Conquest tournaments a month, we'll figure them out. Which means almost every single Masters is going to be like this. Unless somehow they masterfully balance. No, that's not even possible. Because the current balance is more diverse than we've had before. So, yeah, there's more decks you can play. But the card restriction means that you have to play decks like this that fit together. So the metagame is just going to be like this every month. Is that what we want? Like, this is a really unfun format to play, particularly. Like, I've been angry after every single Conquest tournament this entire month. Even every single time I play the Conquest format and testing, I've been annoyed, because it is that irritating to play. And I just don't think we should be using this going forward. It's not the, it's not the first format we tried. We tried Sideboard, which honestly wasn't too bad. Like, it was a bit sketchy because of some of the counters in this game. It was a bit sketchy, but it's not awful. But I think we should try deck elimination for next month. At least just try it, and if it doesn't work, go back to Conquest. It's kind of weird just to lock in a this is the best one. So yeah, I'm gonna make that suggestion. I think it is probably where we should be going. Or just, to be honest, anything else. But if you want multi-deck, I would say deck elimination. But Conquest is really not where you want to be going. It was never designed to be a competitive format anyway. It was designed to be good to watch. Like, if you want to hear more about this, go back to my Hearthstone video on it ages ago. And I was talking about all the problems with Conquest and why it was stupid that major tournaments were, using it. But they were only using it because of Blizzard. In fact, that was shown where a year later, a whole bunch of tournaments were just like, deck elimination, why not? And they did it for a couple months, and they went back to the Blizzard one because it had better view numbers, because everyone wanted to see the Blizzard format. That's literally what happened, because it is a bad constructed competitive format, especially considering in Hearthstone you got classes, which means there are more diverse picks, but even then in Hearthstone tournaments you'll see entire fields picking 2 of the exact same decks. It's just a bad competitive format. But anyway, that's pretty much what I have to say on Masters. The production quality on the tournament was done very, very well. Fuzz and Bolter were casting, and that was good. The tournament system worked out really, really well. The in-game tournament feature is probably the best thing about Spellweaver, to be honest, because it makes all the stuff really easy to run. So, yeah, that worked out smoothly. But, yeah, all the background stuff was good. All of that was good. The prize pool ended up at 2,800, I think, in the end, which was good. But, yeah, the actual format itself was really annoying. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback, want to ask me any questions, put it in the comment section below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, there is a link to my Patreon in the description. But as for now, it's been Jotto, signing off.